All right, welcome to the stock market update. It is Monday, April 11th, and wow, we have a lot to talk about because stocks finished last week with a loss. The S&P 500 is closing below a key technical level. We'll take a look at this. The 10-year yield keeps making new highs. Cleveland Fed president says no recession. So what does that mean? Okay, so what will traders focus on this week? What to expect? And that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Plus, we'll talk about our current positions. But before we dive in and show you what's happening here. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm Markus Heitkoetter. This is my head coach, Mark Hodge, and together we have more than 47 years of trading experience. And every morning we sift through a mountain of news websites, newsletters, and reports, and then we take the most important news and go live right here to share with you what you need to know as you head into your trading day. Now, if this is your first time here, I know it can be a little bit overwhelming, but don't worry, we have a special video just for you that I will link to in the description, and that's a great place to get started. Okay, so Mark, before we take a look at the charts and show everybody how we're trading the market, let me tell you about something that's worrying me because I'm really getting concerned about my mental health. You see, let me tell you, after what happened last week on Friday, we haven't talked about it yet, but I'm starting to get really concerned. See, over the years, I already noticed a few changes in my mental state. As an example, has this ever happened to you? Last week, my daughter Vivian and I wanted to make mac and cheese, and I read the directions on the box, then threw it in the trash, right? And picked it out of the trash a few minutes later because I already forgot step 3 of the instruction. It was quarter cup of milk and how much butter? Have you ever done that?
I have done that before. I have.
Okay, and I noticed also that I'm getting older. My tolerance level has significantly decreased. So, for example, when I'm sitting on an airplane, I'm usually up front in seat 2A. That's my favorite seat. And then somebody walks in, stops right next to my seat, pulls out the ticket and says, 28F. Looks up, sees seats 2A and 2C, looks back at the ticket, looks to the other side, sees seats 2D and 2F, looks one row further, mumbles row 3, back at the ticket, and then starts walking while counting row 4, row 5. Buddy, you still have a ways to go. You're 28. Anyhow, so here's what happened last week. So you know that we traded Macy's, right? So we both traded it. I sold puts for 25 cents. Did you do the same? Can't remember.
Yeah.
Now, as a rule of thumb, we like to buy back at 90% of the maximum profit. And in this case, that would be 2 cents. Now, on Friday, I noticed that my order to buy back Macy's put options was filled, which was super surprising. And I noticed that 0.02 and 0.22 are not the same. Turns out I entered my profit target at 0.22 instead of 0.02. 22 cents instead of 2 cents. Wow. I've made this mistake in 3 years.
Yeah. That's a big difference when it comes to selling puts and collecting premium.
Well, have you ever made this mistake?
I I haven't made the 90% mistake that you just did, but I have entered the wrong number, so we're all guilty of that.
Anyhow, so now I have 3 choices. I can double up on my fish oil supplements and hope it helps, or I can watch a few episodes of Sesame Street with the counts to refresh my numbers, or I could just chalk it up as an honest mistake. And usually I would do this, but combined with my growing impatience with people who are writing checks at the register at the supermarket and then balancing their checkbook at the same time while the line is getting longer and longer, I think I start getting concerned about my mental health. So I really should use the auto trading function in PowerX Optimizer more often. Anyhow,
Yeah, I think that the watching episodes of Sesame Street, that would be my suggestion, Marcus.
yeah, I like the count. I really like him. Okay, let's take a look at the markets here. So interesting, a losing week for the indices last week, but it was a pretty choppy week.
It was. We saw that early on. There was a little bit of a move higher, and then on Wednesday things just kind of reversed. Or actually, it was Tuesday after a push higher and then a pullback, and then choppy Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So it really was interesting. I didn't expect a whole lot of direction after this huge run up that we've had over the last few weeks. But on Friday, were we going to finish positive? Were we going to finish negative? Well, we finished negative and we were down for the week.
Yeah, and now the S&P is closing below its 200-day moving average. But you see, we're trading right around there. So this is where it's chop, chop, chop. So I mean, let's talk about it. What to expect this week? What's happening?
Well, we do have some fresh data that traders will be focused on. We have the consumer price index for March due out on Tuesday. So there we have the economic calendar. We see CPI, core CPI. So that's going to come out Tuesday. Now that's a biggie.
Yeah,
That's something that the Fed definitely takes into consideration. And then we also have the producer price index on Wednesday.
right. And, talking about Fed, I mean, we see that this week we have a bunch of Fed members speaking today. So today, Bauman, and then tomorrow we have Brainard speaking again. I thought there was one more. Oh, yeah, there's on Thursday, Fed member Mester is speaking. So, and that's interesting because right now they're all chiming in.
They are definitely sharing their thoughts and ideas. And we saw that Cleveland Fed President Loretta Mester told CNBC's Face the Nation on Sunday that she still believes the Fed can get inflation under control without causing major damage to the economy.
Yeah, and I mean, this is where right now the focus we've been talking about it over the past few weeks. It has been a lot on the Russia-Ukraine war, but right now it's back to the Fed and inflation, and this where also, I mean, the 10-year yield. Look at this, ripping higher, and again this morning higher. So now solidly at 2.75, and if you look at this. I mean, just a month ago, we were at 2%, and now at 2.75. So that's 3/4 of a point. That's a lot because if you zoom out here a little bit and look, these are highs that we haven't made since 2019. So in 3 years.
And the speed of that move is a little troubling. Just we do know that what goes up fast can come down, but it's the in between. Just that acceleration is pretty fast at this point.
Yeah, it's also super interesting because right now the yield on China's 10-year government bonds is actually lower than the one on US. And that's something new, right? And this has something to do with the COVID outbreak. And I pulled it up this morning. Take a look at this. I mean, this is what's happening in China right now. Look at the COVID cases. So I'm
Wow.
just pulling up here the last 3 months so that we see how drastically it is going up. But if you look at all time, this was the beginning of the pandemic. That's where they are right now. I mean, this is
Wow.
why they're shutting down and they have a zero tolerance policy here.
Yeah, and the yield on China's 10-year government bond falling to 2.75% overnight. It's the first time in 12 years that it's been below the US
Holy moly.
alternative.
Yeah. So this where I mean, right now going back to the war, and we've been keeping an eye on crude oil a lot. I mean, crude oil keeps falling, and that's probably basically because of the news of China, right? Because China is the number one importer of oil, and if they're locking down and companies have to shut down, there's less energy consumption.
Yeah, I think that like we do know that in the international community there's been the release of reserves and the attempt there, but we also know that there's a big part of this right now is China and not using crude oil because of the situation with COVID.
So right now, I would say the focus had shifted, and we are back to looking at inflation, interest rates, and yeah, the possibility of a recession. Or again, you said the Fed member yesterday said, "Oh well, I don't see a recession coming," but many others say it could come. But I mean, they don't think that it will be this year, but they're predicting it for next year.
And that's the time, will it come, the time horizon here. I mean, this is where I believe that we're not going to see this quick transition if it is to come. Even Mester, to quote her specifically, she said, if you look at the risks given what's happening in the world and in the economy, there is an increased risk of a recession, but that she remains optimistic. And certainly with the model forecast and what's going on and what's going to happen this year is that expansion will continue.
I mean, this is why this week is so important with the CPI and the PPI data, where we see, okay, is it still rising or have we reached the top and it is now slowly declining here? Because that's what everybody's looking for. But then also this
Yeah.
week, earnings season is kicking off
Yes.
again.
Yes. Back to earnings. Back to earnings. We have J.P. Morgan, Chase, and Delta. Financials. A few financials reporting starting this week, and I think it kicks off on Wednesday.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about our current trades here. So let's hop over here on the PowerX Optimizer. And so last week, let me just zoom out a little bit. Let's see. So I had AMD. Let's go to the wheel. You did not trade AMD, right?
I did trade
Oh
AMD.
yeah,
I'm
you
assigned.
did. Okay. Just getting confused. There's one that we didn't do. Anyhow, so this is where we sold the 98 put. I sold the 98 put that expired worthless. You sold a higher put. So you got assigned, right?
I did. I got assigned at 104. I went a little higher. I sold, I think, 2 days before you did. So I'm assigned. And I do like how this one ranges, and
Oh,
we
yeah.
are testing support there. But this one, it will be interesting to see if we could sell calls and manage the premium there.
Yeah, I really wanted to get a sign on this one. Then Blackstone. Blackstone sold the 109 puts, so this is expiring this Thursday because Friday the markets are closed because of Good Friday. So we have a short trading week. We only have 4 days. So we'll see. Right now trading at 114, almost 115. So it seems that we're good there. So I had DB that expired worthless last week. So I sold the 12 put, and on Friday we closed at 12.81, so this expired worthless. I know that you traded Bank of America. Was this also expiring on Friday, or is it?
Yes, and it expired worthless.
So Bank of America for you also expired worthless because you sold the 39.50 put,
Yep.
and it closed at 39.67. Okay, then I decided to trade Harley Davidson. And this expiring this week. So I sold the 34 puts. I mean, this almost looks like I can close it at 90% profit today, if
Probably.
I put in the right number.
Close. Close.
Close, close, close. Okay, then Macy's. We traded Macy's last week. Now, again, that's where I made the mistake. So I am out of this one with a $3 profit per contract. And I think I traded like 50. So, I mean, it's not too bad. It could have been worse. But you're still in this one, right?
I am. I am. I have puts at 2250, so I've
Yeah, I'll
sold
see
that.
if I can sell puts again today. I'll definitely do this, and we might, right? I mean, we'll take a look at the pre-market action here in just a moment, and then also I have TPR Tapestry, and this is where I sold the 37 put. Now it closed on 33 on Friday, so I am assigned, and this is where I'll see if we can sell calls against it here this week at 37. So this is where the wheel starts. And again, yeah, both you and I have an assignment here, which is good. That's what we're looking for. Because this is where really selling calls is where we can make a lot of money.
That's where I see a lot of the profits come in on assignment, as long as it's a good stock and good strike.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So let's take a look at the pre-market action here and let's see what is happening and what we can expect today. And it's super interesting. I'm looking at a 5-minute chart here of the E-mini NASDAQ and a little bit all over the place, right? But definitely pointing to a lower opening here right now, down 1.2% going into the open.
Yeah, Nasdaq leading the e-minis with losses and trading near session lows. Interesting to see the Nasdaq mini Dow relationship. So the Dow and the Nasdaq going a little bit against each other again. Same on Friday actually, because the Dow closed higher on Friday. So we're seeing a little bit of that the sell the tech and maybe buy blue chips. We'll
Yeah,
see.
that's where we go to, okay, kind of the risk off mentality right now, because that's what we also see in the cryptocurrencies. I mean, there was this huge conference in Miami. You covered it on Friday. But as we are looking at Bitcoin right now, I mean, over the past week or last 2 weeks, it has been definitely moving lower. And this just showing, I mean, tech stocks, NASDAQ, Bitcoin, it's in risk off environment.
Yep.
All right. Anyhow, well, since we did get assigned in a few positions, it is time to sell some calls here this morning or see what else we can do in terms of trading. So if you would like to know how exactly we do this, I'll link to a few videos right here so that you can take a look at this. It's the wheel strategy in 15 minutes. It's a really good video. You should check it out. And then we'll see you again tomorrow morning.
Happy trading, everybody.